Hi, and welcome to Omni Edition Garden City. I am Dan York, and with me again is Doc Dougherty, the City Manager for the City of Garden City. We want to talk about the new Radcliffe Center, not a new building, but new to us, that the city has secured, the city has begun to move into. First of all, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right, so let's talk about it. Radcliffe, the former Schoolcraft College property, originally built to be a junior high here in Garden City.
Yes.
The city actually closed on the building in June or July, end of June,
Yes.
and it is now in our possession.
It is. All of this started with, we were looking to renovate Maplewood Center as our current community center. We put a request into the county for funding to help us out, and we were starting to lay out the plans for it. Radcliffe came into our hands as a question of, would the city be willing to give Schoolcraft money to tear the building down so that they could build 61 homes on the property? And the benefit to the city would be we'd put up money to tear the building down, but long term we'd get our money back by taxes for all these new homes that were going to be built, as well as everybody else would benefit, tax-wise. So it seems like a good economic decision. It wasn't until we were having a council meeting one night that Councilwoman DeMichael actually asked the question, well, once we tear this building down, who are you going to sell the building to, the developer? How much are you going to sell for? And they said $175,000. And air just left the room during the council meeting, and I spoke up and just said, well, what if I offered you 175 right now? Would you sell to us? And the president of the college said, Doc, you give me 175, it's yours. And the room emptied with air again because well, we can actually have that building, 78,000 square foot on 14 acres, that's currently at that time was being used as a full college. So it's not some lemon sitting in the corner somewhere. Their objective overall, when people ask the question, is why were we able to get it so cheap? Their objective was to move all their operations to their campus up there off of 275. They were looking for a benefit for the region and the community for all the support that we've given them over the last 20 years. What can they do for us? And they thought the best idea was build 60 homes and have tax money come forever into the community, into the school district, and new residents and such. So they never thought about turning it into a recreation center. Even at that moment, as they came to us, the idea was just more homes. Okay, well, we're looking to try to fix Maplewood, and we just assumed that it was a multi-million-dollar deal. It was going to be in play until they said that opened up the door, and we moved forward quickly on it and called him that night and said we want to give us right of first refusal, and we worked through it. So we literally got that building for $175,000 and an additional, I believe, $30,000 or so for the equipment that was inside. They did take a number of chairs and tables and miscellaneous things, but they left a whole lot of equipment worth way more money than $30,000 in the facility. And as I mentioned, you walk into it, it was currently being used as a college. So it was already in very good shape. Not exactly what we would want for a recreation center. There's some changes that we're making now, but a lot of the rooms are just classrooms. So we're doing some work over there now, which I'll get back to. But that left us with Maplewood. What do we do? And it was discussed at a council meeting of either we tear Maplewood down and go the same way, build homes there, mothball it, not do anything with it, rent it out, or we actually sell it. So what happened as we're looking at making the change to Radcliffe, we discussed, well, maybe by next Christmas we can move things over operations.
Right, that was the original plan. That was the plan, yeah. Stay at Maplewood until maybe the end of the year.
Yep.
And move everything
and then just slowly fix things that we want to have done. At that point, we started to take the request that we were asking the county for. County had received $350 million from the federal funding, $350 million to do county funding work for infrastructure stuff, but also help all the communities around. So I put a request in for about $4 million to actually add a gymnasium on at Maplewood, a full-blown gymnasium, as well as a new entrance.
Well, let's back up. You had actually originally made a proposal to the county for money for Maplewood.
Yes, that's where it all started, for Maplewood. Then when this came into play, we looked at Radcliffe and said, well, there's a few things that we'd like to add there, including they have a small gymnasium that's really a theater. You walk in there, it's not
too nice to play basketball.
It's not an athletic gymnasium. But there is a locker room in between. We could add a new gymnasium on. And again, same thing, a new entrance from the back where we have hundreds of parking spots. You kind of walk right into a hallway. It'd be nice to have an inviting entrance where we'd actually have an ID system. You know, for youth coming in to play games in different game rooms, it's not going to be a free-for-all of just people show up. We need to know who's coming and going, just as you'd see at any well put together community center or recreation center. There's ID systems at colleges and things you see today. So that's a request we changed now. So we're waiting on the county to make a decision on a $4 million request for some of that money that they received from the federal government to put towards that recreation center.
And this was money that was from COVID relief, basically,
yes,
right?
Yes, it was the COVID relief that every city or every county and every state received money. We don't receive money directly. We are not an entitlement community. Being that we have less than 50,000 people, we actually have to wait for the county to give us money. Cities like Westland, Dearborn Heights, everyone around us, Livonia, has more than 50,000 people. They actually receive money directly, which I'll come back and explain that a little bit. But what happened with Maplewood in the meantime was a GSRP group. GSRP is a state-funded preschool program. Head Start is a federal-funded program. So GSRP group comes to us and says the state is looking for more places to have GSRP. It's at Lather School, it's at Tipton School, it's a pre-K program. There's just no space for anybody. Well, we have an entire school, Maplewood Center, that could be used for this program. So they said that first they needed 4 rooms. We came up with a deal, so they're taking out the Balmoral wing. So that's when we decided, well, okay, I guess we can rent out Maplewood. It gives us the answer to our concerns of how do we run this building, with its costs. So we decided to turn Maplewood into 3 sections. So instead of an inside mall where people just wandered around the hallways, it's going to be what we call an outside mall. You enter in this area for the GSR program, GSRP, which is youth preschool. You enter in this door where the library currently exists, and then you enter in another door, which will be a future rental group that we don't have yet currently at this spot, at this time. So that made us quickly start moving over to Radcliffe. So construction of miscellaneous things we're doing over there are fast-tracked, and we've already started to move a lot of our senior programs over there. I saw that the Committee for Aging was meeting yesterday in one of the rooms. So everybody is starting to move over in that direction, which is emptying out Maplewood at this point, and it's given us a chance to just kind of upgrade the hallway area for GSRP to come in, which they have. We've agreed they were renting for $80,000 for their section. We have the library that has a contract in their hands at this point for about $55,000. And then we have an entire section, a third of the building, that we are looking to try to find some VOTEC classes, some educational programs also.
So the hope there is that revenue will help offset the cost of operating the building. It wouldn't fix a roof or replace a roof or do a major thing, but it should manage the day-to-day upkeep of the building.
Between those two, it definitely covers already the operating costs, and it puts money away. So Maplewood no longer is a drain on services to the city. Those rental groups actually cover our costs to run it, plus future renovations of infrastructure, meaning roof and AC system. So now we're moving quickly over to Radcliffe Center at this point. The big issue is the dance program. So over there they have no dance rooms were designed, of course. So we're the council just permitted that we went with a contractor for hardwood floor. So 2 of the rooms we had to take down a wall in between. So now we have 4 rooms turned into 2 large dance rooms, but we've got to put the hardwood floor in. That's the only thing that's stalling us.
And it's been approved by council.
Yes, that's in its way. It's supply chain. We're hoping that the wood gets in time and everything can move. We took it down the roof, so we're raising up the roof, so it's a better dance room than just a college classroom like it's been. But we're looking at generational change when we look at this building. We're not looking at what can we do for the next 6 weeks. We're looking at what can we do for the next 30, 40 years, because that is going to be the hub of our community. So
the amount of space is I don't know what Maplewood is, to be honest with you, but we've got 78,000 square feet now at the Radcliffe building.
Yes. Yep. All the room that we would need for all kinds of programming that we wish we could do somewhere else. We're still asking for the county for some money so we can add that gymnasium and that new entrance, but we're just working around that at this point. So we also have other projects that are going on, the fire station expansion, the police station at City Hall. So let me just talk about financing for a moment. We also received $2.7 million through federal funding. 2.7. Other communities around us received 25 million, 27 million, 26 million. We received 2.7 because we are not an entitlement community, as I mentioned earlier. We're in the boat with Wayne and Inkster and Flat Rock and some of these smaller Romulus communities received $1 million, $2 million for federal funding to do some infrastructure work and some other things. So we received $2.7 million. Our objective in using that money is right now, the fire station is out to bid. We're expanding the fire station. I believe a lot of people in the community know this. Right now, all the 7 firemen sleep in one room, just like they did in the old days in the old TV shows. Totally inappropriate in today's society, especially if we look to hire some young women in the fire department, which we're trying to do. They should not be sleeping with a bunch of men in one room. Everybody individually should have their own. So we're expanding the fire station to have their own individual pods. They can sleep separately, and the bathrooms and showers are changing from gang showers to individual restrooms and showers, which even if it's still 7 men over there, everybody should be able to have their own area to sleep and shower and things. So we're creating it for the future. I received a $400,000 grant I requested from the state to put towards that, to put partially towards it. Of the $2.7 million, we're looking to take $700,000 of that and put it with the $400,000, basically looking at just over $1 million renovation of the fire station. That cost to the taxpayers and out of our fund is zero. Right now, you're looking at $400 from the state, $700 from the federal funding we just received. The fire station expansion, again, a generational decision, it will cost zero. We're also looking at taking of that 2.7 we received in federal funding, $500,000 towards the police station, $500,000 towards City Hall. What we're looking here is roofs, AC systems, generator for the City Hall. When the power goes down in the neighborhood, City Hall shuts down. We have no generator, for this building, which is stunning. Very surprising that we don't have that. But those are large costs, and you're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars in bid process for AC units and things. So $500 for the police station, $500,000 for City Hall. Of that federal funding we received, the cost to our budget and our taxpayers, zero. So we're renovating the fire station, City Hall, and the police station, costing nothing out of our general fund or directly from the taxpayers, and then we have about $1 million left. And that's why some people, if they've heard the mayor recently saying we're looking at maybe $1 million in upgrades at the Radcliffe Center, and some people have questioned, okay, it's a money pit already. No, it's not a money pit at all. We bought it for $175. We're making changes. I don't think we need to spend $1 million. When you're looking at gymnasium and the extension of the entrance, that's we're asking for the county for money from that same federal funding.
Not the $1 million.
Not yet, but the $1 million right now is the dance floor that we're looking to install. There's other areas we took walls down and things we're clearing out of the senior store, creating that atmosphere over there. Chairs and tables throughout the hallways and things so we can have nice sitting areas as parents are waiting for classes to finish. So,
and this operation is moving over there.
Yes, absolutely. Communications is all moving over there. It's be a fantastic expansion to this small little room that we're in right now.
It looks great on TV.
It looks so big. But again, when we go back to it, what does it cost us to buy Radcliffe, and what's it cost for the expansion? Nothing to the taxpayers themselves. It's all from that federal funding of 2.7. It's an absolute great use of the funds to renovate all of our city buildings and have it expanded and renovated for the next generation of next 20, 30, 40 years. Now, obviously, being a common sense person, yes, there's federal funding and state funding, so individually there are some tax money that went to those programs overall. So we're not saying it costs taxpayers zero, but our city taxes,
right.
It's not coming out of our reserve general funds or anything else. It's coming from money that we garnered through these state and federal programs. So you can't get better than having a beautiful, huge recreation center and renovation of our City Hall, police station, and a fire station expansion for people to work in peace and privacy over there a little bit and cost us zero.
So with the Radcliffe Center, had we done nothing to it,
yes,
it's still an upgrade over the Maplewood Center.
Oh my
if
goodness,
we do
yes.
nothing.
Yes, and the only issue, like I mentioned earlier, was a lot of them are their classroom size. So to really open up the game rooms, and things I'll mention what we're looking to do over there is we're expecting to have seniors, a lot of seniors coming down through the day, in the mornings up until noontime, give or take. Then the middle school opens up, and we're looking to have a lot of kid programming from the 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. And in the evening, you have your adults that are off of work and that can come for different programming. Those things overlap, of course, because you have youth dance programs in the evening, so it's not just designed for those ages, but there will be some overlapping. Certainly the seniors in the morning will have their run of the place. But inside, we're building a full-blown computer lab with about 37 computers. So we can have in the morning, learn to Skype with your grandchildren, learn how to write documents or Excel spreadsheets on the computer. In the afternoon for kids, there's limited programming taught in the school system at this point. We want to get into Excel spreadsheet, advanced Excel spreadsheet, things that can help kids as they go into college. And then adults themselves looking for new jobs. We're actually looking to set up programming to assist, not as a employment agency, but giving the people the skills that when they go for interviews, they would have that. And that can be done through the computer lab. We're also looking at the full game rooms, 2 types of game rooms, one with the pool tables, the ping pong, the shuffle boards, the large table stuff, commercial grade, that'll last a long time, that during the mornings, it may be groups of seniors that like to meet every Tuesday or Thursday and play their games and get together. In the afternoon and the evening, it would be the younger kids are able to use those areas. But then we're going to have a teen tech room where kids after school, to get them off the streets and keep them busy. There you're looking at different types of arcade games and video games and a little movie area or so kids can hang out. And again, this will be all registered children. No one can just show up and say, I'm here. We don't know who they are. They could destroy the place, steal things. We're going to know who they are with a nice camera system throughout the place. But it keeps them off the streets and keeps them busy. And I think any of us, if we were 13, 12, 14-year-old, we'd love to have a place like this that we're setting up. But we're also going to have game rooms where you have the board games and cards and things.
Okay.
So each of the rooms are going to be set up as specialty rooms, where a lot of times at Maplewood, that room was changed over and over between aerobics and senior stretcher size and on to game room. This room, the building gives us the ability to really stretch the activities out. Now we have the senior store over there, and that's one thing that people have questioned about the thrift shop over at Maplewood versus what we're doing over at the Radcliffe. And this was mentioned the other night at the council meeting. At Radcliffe, there was an old store that was there part of the school, and they had a little drink fountain and area. So that's when we started to say, well, we can go to the senior store there at our place where we can sell Garden City shirts and hats and sweatshirts, have a coffee machine set up so it becomes a little basically senior cafe, and then have some arts and crafts that are made. The original thrift shop at Maplewood Center that started in the 80s was a senior gift store. It was not a thrift shop of drop-off donations. They were drawing pictures or paintings and crafts, and they would sell things there on either consignment or just donated to the program. Over time, it appears that people started to just donate more from the outside, and now it became what is the Salvation Army or a Goodwill. Fantastic group of ladies that are working over there, putting in their time as volunteers, and one of them, I understand, 37 years. They mentioned that she's been there. So what we're looking to do at Radcliffe is not have a thrift shop over there where people are just dropping off donations. I'd recommend they go to the Salvation Army or somewhere else to drop off. But there we're talking about a senior shop where, again, it's a coffee cafe. So as maybe a couple of mothers drop their child off at the dance class, they stop into the store. There's Garden City garb that they might want to send to some family in California that really hasn't seen these cool Garden City shirts. Grab a couple of coffees and go sit down at the end of the hallway and chit-chat a little bit. We're trying to make it a hub of the community, of a place to just kind of hang out. So we're not trying to compete with a Starbucks or anything, but the money that would be garnered through that senior cafe would go back into the senior programs. Okay. So the thrift shop itself has an opportunity now. They can stay at Maplewood where they're at, and we're in discussions with them, so they have a choice. It seems that the large group I talked about, 10 of them, were interested in coming over to the new store because that's where there's going to be a lot more money and it's going to be a lot busier than what they have currently. So the decision's up to some of them. Some of them want to stay with the thrift shop. And in dealings with the library, we were offering the library those couple of rooms. It's going to be an opportunity for them to either work with them or we'll kind of come up with something else for the thrift shop.
And you talk about Maplewood having the GSRP program, yes, having the library as tenants. We also have tenants that came with the Radcliffe building. Yes. Again, there's guaranteed revenue in the Radcliffe building right off the bat.
Yes, another great financial decision there is we're trying to keep them there. So we have a Head Start program that's been there for years. They had 4 rooms, and they're paying up towards $80,000 in rent. They're asking for 2 more rooms. So I just sent them a new lease with an additional increase for those 2 other rooms. We also have a group called T-Lab, which is an international tutoring program, but they also have testing. So if you may take a professional test, you may go to T-Lab and go into this beautiful, well-appointed facility inside our Radcliffe Center, where you would take these special classes and take these special tests and things. And they're paying, I believe, at this point, about $40,000, give or take. So just like Maplewood, with GSRP and the library paying rent, we also have Radcliffe with 2 groups that are paying rent that are covering the cost to run the center. So again, if anybody questions, that's going to be a money pit. Well, our costs are covered right now by 2 groups that are renting. And if you walk throughout the building, you barely even notice that they're there because the place is so big with so many opportunities for us for much more programming. And to know that the costs are covered already from that, those two groups is fantastic. So then, as I go back collapsing what I mentioned earlier, you're looking at a renovation of all of our city buildings right now with federal funds that were sent in and some state funds, and 2 huge recreation centers that are getting their costs covered by 4 outside groups renting. It's costing us 0 in tax money to run. So anything we expand beyond this is just gravy for us. So it's a great time to be in Garden City, and these changes coming are great for the city.
So it's a very, very exciting transition.
Yes, absolutely.
And already some of the food programs, or maybe all of the food programs, are over at Radcliffe. They have the advantage of now their own entrance, their own turnaround drive, or circular driveway, and some other stuff.
The food pantry has already been moved over fully. We have maps at Maplewood in case anybody shows up and doesn't know it's there. They have more space than they've ever had before, so we're looking to expand that if possible. Right now, Meals on Wheels is staying at Maplewood Center because it's still our building, and we still have a lot of space that isn't rented out. So right now they're staying over because they need the kitchen area, close to the door, and where food bank is nowhere near the kitchen area because they don't need that space there. But that's the first step that we moved over was the food bank, and again we're investing in them to make them bigger and better for those that need that service.
All right. Well, very good information.
Yep.
Thanks for taking time out to talk to us.
All right. Thank you.
All right. That's Omni Edition Garden City for today. Thanks for watching. Good night, everybody.